TV set goes out of focus. Jim goes over and strikes the TV soundly on the side and the picture goes back into focus. Jim tells his friend that hitting the TV fixed it. Jane gets a rather large wart on her finger. Based on a story her father told her, she cuts a potato in half, rubs it on the wart and then buries it under the light of a full moon. Over the next month her wart shrinks and eventually vanishes. Jane writes her father to tell him how right he was about the cure. Fallacy. Questionable cause. Description of questionable cause. This fallacy has the following general form. A and B are associated on a regular basis. Therefore A is the cause of B. The general idea behind this fallacy is that it is an error in reasoning to conclude that one thing causes another simply because the two are associated on a regular basis. More formally, this fallacy is committed when it is concluded that A is the cause of B simply because they are associated on a regular basis. The error being made is that a causal conclusion is being drawn from inadequate evidence. The questionable cause fallacy is actually a general type of fallacy. Any causal fallacy that involves an error in a reasoning due to a failure to adequately investigate the suspected cause is a fallacy of this type. Thus, fallacies like post hoc and confusing cause and effect are specific examples of the general questionable cause fallacy. Causal reasoning can be quite difficult since causation is a rather complex philosophic issue. The complexity of causation is briefly discussed in the context of the specific versions of this fallacy. The key to avoiding the questionable cause fallacy is to take due care in drawing causal conclusions. This requires taking steps to adequately investigate the phenomena in question as well using the proper methods of careful investigation. Examples of questionable cause. Joe gets a chain letter that threatens him with dire consequences if he breaks the chain. He laughs at it and throws it in the garbage. On his way to work he slips and breaks his leg. When he gets back from the hospital he sends out 200 copies of the chain letter, hoping to avoid further accidents. When investigating a small pond, a group of graduate students found that there was a severe drop in the fish population. Further investigation revealed that the fish's food supply had also been severely reduced. At first the students believed that the lack of food was killing the fish, but then they realized they had to find what was causing the decline in the food supply. The students suspected acid rain was the cause of both the reduction in the fish population as well as the food supply. However, the local business council insisted that it was just the lack of food that caused the reduction in the fish population. Most of the townspeople agreed with this conclusion since it seemed pretty obvious that a lack of food would cause fish to die. Fallacy. Red herring. Also known as smokescreen, wild goose chase. Description of red herring. A red herring is a fallacy in which an irrelevant topic is presented in order to divert attention from the original issue. The basic idea is to win an argument by leading attention away from the argument and to another topic. This sort of reasoning has the following form. Topic A is under discussion. Topic B is introduced under the guise of being relevant to topic A. When topic B is actually not relevant to topic A, topic A is abandoned. This sort of reasoning is fallacious because merely changing the topic of discussion hardly counts as an argument against a claim. Examples of red herring. We admit that this measure is popular. But we also urge you to note that there are so many bond issues on this ballot that the whole thing is getting ridiculous. Argument for a tax cut. You know, I've begun to think that there is some merit in the Republicans' tax cut plan. I suggest that you come up with something like it. Because if we Democrats are going to survive as a party, we have got to show that we are as tough-minded as the Republicans, since that is what the public wants. Argument for making grad school requirements stricter. I think there is great merit in making the requirements stricter for the graduate students. I recommend that you support it, too. After all, we are in a budget crisis and we do not want our salaries affected. Fallacy. Relativist fallacy. Also known as the subjectivist fallacy. Description of relativist fallacy. The relativist fallacy is committed when a person rejects a claim by asserting that the claim might be true for others but is not for him/her. This sort of reasoning has the following form. Claim X is presented. Person A asserts that X may be true for others but is not true for him/her. Therefore A is justified in rejecting X. In this context, relativism is the view that truth is relative to Z. A person, time, culture, place, etc. This is not the view that claims will be true at different times or of different people, but the view that a claim could be true for one person and false for another at the same time. In many cases, when people say that X is true for me, what they really mean is I believe X or X is true about me. It is important to be quite clear about the distinction between being true about a person and being true for a person. A claim is true about a person if the claim is a statement that describes the person correctly. For example, Bill has blue eyes is true of Bill if Bill has blue eyes. To make a claim such as X is true for Bill is to say that the claim is true for Bill and that it need not be true for others. For example, 1 + 1 = 23 is true for Bill would mean that, for Bill, 1 + 1 actually does equal 23, not that he merely believes that 1 + 1 = 23. That would be it is true of Bill that he believes 1 + 1 = 23. Another example would be the claim that the Earth is flat is true for Bill would mean that the Earth really is flat for Bill. In other words, Bill would be in a different world than the rest of the human race. Since these situations, 1 + 1 being 23 and the Earth being flat for Bill, are extremely strange, it certainly seems that truth is not relative to individuals. Although beliefs are. As long as truth is objective, that is, not relative to individuals, then the relativist fallacy is a fallacy. If there are cases in which truth is actually relative, then such reasoning need not be fallacious. Examples of relativist fallacy. Jill. Look at this, Bill. I read that people who do not get enough exercise tend to be unhealthy. Bill. That may be true for you, but it is not true for me. Jill. I think that so-called argument you use to defend your position is terrible. After all, a fallacy hardly counts as an argument. Bill. That may be true for you, but it is not true for me. Bill. Your position results in a contradiction, so I can't accept it? Dave. Contradictions may be bad on your Eurocentric, oppressive, logical worldview, but I don't think they are bad. Therefore my position is just fine. Fallacy, slippery slope. Also known as, the camel's nose. Description of slippery slope. The slippery slope is a fallacy in which a person asserts that some event must inevitably follow.